to your family, to your friends.
There is no doubt.
There is no hope.
There is no future.
You heard him say when he was alive that the Son of Man must be delivered over to the hands of sinners, be crucified, and on the third day be risen again.
But you have forgotten those words, or at least they hold no hope for you now.
The horror of crucifixion is still fresh in your mind. You see and hear him dying right in front of you when there was nothing you could do.
You think about your part in all of it and wonder what you could have done differently.
You have been frightened and hiding for days, but now it is Sunday.
Early on the first day of the week, while it was still dark, Mary Magdalene went to the tomb and saw that the stone had been removed from the entrance. So she came running to Simon Peter and the other disciple, the one Jesus loved, and said,
They have taken the Lord out of the tomb, and I don't know where they have put him.
So Peter and the other disciple started from the tomb. Both were running, but the other disciple outran Peter and reached the tomb first. He bent over and looked at the ships of linen lying there, but did not go in.
Then Simon Peter came along behind him and went straight into the tomb. He saw the strips of linen lying there, as well as the cloth that had been wrapped around Jesus' head. The cloth was still lying in its place, separate from the linen.
Finally, the other disciple had reached the tomb first, also went inside. He saw and believed. They still did not understand from Scripture that Jesus had to rise from the dead. Then the disciples went back to where they were staying.
Now Mary stood outside the tomb crying. As she wept, she bent over to look into the tomb and saw two angels in white, seated where Jesus' body had been, one at the head and the other at the foot. They asked her,
Mama, why are you crying? They have taken my Lord out of the tomb, and I don't know where they have put him.
At this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, but she did not realize that it was Jesus. He asked her,
Cut his mic on. Turn the mic on.
Woman, why are you crying? Who is it you are looking for?
thinking he was the gardener, she said,
Sir, if you have taken my Lord out of the tomb, please tell me where you have put him so I can go get him. Mary. Rabbi.
In Aramaic, the word rabbi means teacher.
Do not hold on to me, for I have not yet ascended to the Father. Go and send to my brothers, and tell them I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God.
Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news,
I have seen the Lord.
and she told them that he had said these things to her.
On the evening of that first day of the week, when the disciples were together, the doors were locked for fear of the Jewish leaders. Jesus came to among them and said,
Peace be with you.
After he said this, he showed him his hands and side. The disciples were overjoyed when they saw the Lord. And again Jesus said,
Peace be with you. Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you.
and with this he breathed on them and said,
Receive the Holy Spirit if you forgive anyone's sins. Their sins are forgiven. If you do not forgive them, they are not forgiven.
Now Thomas, also known as Didymus, meaning twin, one of the 12, was not with the disciples when Jesus came, so the other disciples told him,
We have seen the Lord.
Unless I see the nail marks in his hands and put my finger where the nails were, and put my hand into his side, I will not believe.
A week later, his disciples were in the house again. Now Thomas was with them, though the doors were locked. Jesus came and stood among them and said,
Peace be with you.
Time, King.
Peace be with you. Put your fingers through. See my hand. Reach out your hand.
Put your mic to your mouth.
Stop doubting and believe.
My Lord, my God!
You have blessed our hope. You have not seen and yet believed.
That's true.
Jesus performed many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not recorded in this book. But these are written that you may believe that Jesus is the Messiah, the Son of God, and that by believing you may have life in his name.
Imagine yourself in all the best possible situations. The Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who was dead, is now alive again.
By the power of the living God, Jesus Christ has risen from the dead and is alive forever.
The terror of yesterday is gone, and the fear of tomorrow has vanished.
Because of what Jesus did on the cross, mankind can be forgiven of sin.
And because he has been raised from the dead, mankind can live forever.
There is no doubt
We have hope.
we have a future.
God bless you and happy Easter.
Jesus is alive.